Hello, Emma Reese Crime here, your fellow crime thriller and mystery book lover. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Have you ever been incredibly excited when one of your favourite celebrities comes out with some sort of fiction book, whether that's a thriller, romance, fantasy, only to be sorely disappointed? Well, same. I recently DNF'd Deadline by Steph McGovern, which I had really high hopes for, and it got me thinking, why do celebrity authors' books tend to suck? So I thought I'd do a video on the 4 reasons why I think that this is the case. Obviously, it goes without saying that this is just my personal opinion. No offence is intended to the publisher, the celebrity author, or you. If you enjoy these books, then that is great. But for me, I find more often than not, I tend to be really disappointed when I read the celebrity book. Celebrity fiction books seem to be on the rise, and given their famous status, they have the best publishers, the best marketing teams, the best editors on demand, yet it just seems that lots of us get disappointed when they release a book. Obviously, Richard Osman's written a few books, Steph McGovern's just released a book, and now even Reese Witherspoon is bringing out a book with Harlan Coben. Hopefully that one will be good because Harlan Coben's involved. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rules. I don't hate every single celebrity book out there. I regularly recommend Isolation Island by Louise Minchin. But anyway, I feel like I'm waffling, so here are the 4 reasons why I think celebrity authors' books tend to suck. Number 1 is ghostwriters. So let's take a look at Bombshell by Alison Hammond. I am a huge fan of Alison Hammond. I think that she is great. This isn't really my genre. It looks like more of a rom-com style book. However, if she had written a thriller book, I probably would have been inclined to pick it up. Obviously, the cover is really eye-catching, and Alison's name is in massive font in clear view, leading us to believe that she has written this book. However, that is not the case. When you turn over the front cover, you will see that Alison Hammond has written this with Lisa Brent, a ghostwriter. And what is not clear is actually how much of this book Alison's written. Was it just an idea and Lisa Brent wrote it? Did they write it 50-50? We have no idea as a reader. I mean absolutely no disrespect to ghostwriters whatsoever, but if you are picking up a book because a favourite celebrity has written it and they haven't actually written it, how much of your favourite celebrity are you actually getting in the writing, or are you just getting the voice of a ghostwriter whose work you're not familiar with? What I will say about Bombshell is at least when you do open the front cover, the ghostwriter's name is visible, and that's not always the case. Apparently sometimes ghostwriters are only mentioned in the acknowledgements, so that can be really misleading. Jack Edwards has posted a video on ghostwriting and the ethics behind it, and it's really interesting, and I'd recommend that you give that a watch sometime if you've not seen it already. He goes into much more depth about ghostwriters and the industry. It's really fascinating. The second reason why I quite often find that celebrity books suck is that they are not writers, or more specifically, they're not fiction writers. On my TikTok account and on my Instagram, I have been speaking a little bit about celebrity authors, and quite a lot of people agreed with me that they tend to not enjoy celebrity authors' works, but the exceptions to the rule tend to be Richard Osman, my nemesis, and Bob Mortimer. And I think what sets apart celebrities like Richard Osman and Bob Mortimer is that they are actually authors in a way, but they also happen to be celebrities. You know, Bob Mortimer, he's a comedian. He writes lots of comedian sketches. Richard Osman's been writing lots of TV scripts, so they kind of already have that skill in play. And for other celebrities, that's just not why they're famous. For example, Millie Bobby Brown, obviously she wrote that with a ghostwriter, but her primary skill is acting, not writing. And of course, there's other celebrities such as Steph McGovern, who I mentioned earlier, and her background is actually journalism. So in theory, she should be a good author, but actually she is probably great at what she does, which is reporting non-fiction. And I do think that writing non-fiction compared to writing novels and fiction is a completely different skill. The third reason why I think that celebrity authors' books suck kind of links into the second reason, is that they're not very well practiced in writing. As in, they're not bringing out a novel a year like the likes of Lisa Jewell, Louise Candlish, Adele Parks, etc. They're just releasing books sporadically, and we are reading their debut purely because they're a celebrity, how many debuts of other authors do we tend to read? For the big names out there, you know, Lisa Jewell, Harlan Coben, Attell Parks, John Mars, we love their books, right? But how much do we love their earlier work compared to their more recent releases? And I think you'll find, as a general rule, their newer stuff is better because as they've written over time as part of their jobs, they've improved. I think it was Mark Billingham or MJ or Arledge or a big popular thriller author whose name completely escapes me, and he was doing audio narrations of all his books. And when he was audio filming for his previous earlier works, he got into trouble because when he was reading out the text he'd written, he was changing it because he knew that he could do better because he's improved. So when it comes to celebrity authors, we are reading their first ever book, that is, if they've written it themselves. So we are reading probably the worst piece of literature they'll ever produce. If they were to release a book every year, do some courses, I'm sure that their books would be much greater improved. The fourth reason why I think that celebrity authors' books suck is that there is a big difference between best-selling authors and actual best authors. I read this in Rich Dad Poor Dad and it really resonated with me. I thought it was such a good point. So again, this links in a little bit with my previous points, but because they have celebrity status, because they have big followings, they automatically become bestsellers. And because they have this celebrity status, they also have a massive team behind them. I don't know the stats exactly, but I would strongly believe that they have bigger marketing budgets behind them. They just have the best of the best, ensuring that they become bestsellers. And because people know that these are big names and they will just sell, I do wonder how much effort actually goes into making sure that the books that they write are great. And this could be completely different to more traditional authors. Some of the big names probably spend years and years writing and perfecting their first book so that it's a knockout. And then you consider the ethics. Obviously, I don't have the stats as to how much money goes behind celebrity authors' marketing campaigns compared to other authors, but is it morally right? Does that sit well with us? Totally understand why publishing houses do this, but is it morally fair on authors and also us who are buying books that the celebrity authors get more money behind their marketing, their books are getting pushed out even though they're not as good compared to other authors who are maybe up and coming and their book is likely to be better, but they're not as a bigger name, so it's just not pushed out as much. I don't know where it sits with me. It's tricky. It's a really tricky thing to, I mean, you could spark a whole debate about it really. And I guess the argument could also be made for non-celebrity thriller authors who are really popular, you know, the likes of Lisa Jewell, Harlan Coben. They must get much bigger marketing budgets behind them compared to smaller upcoming authors. So yeah, it's quite an interesting moral debate to have a think about. Going forward, I'm not going to rule out reading celebrity authors' books because sometimes there are diamonds in the rough and sometimes I'm just intrigued. However, I would much rather dedicate my time and energy and spend my money on big thriller authors where I know I like their writing and also upcoming authors where their books sound great. Where do you sit with celebrity authors? I have posted a video on Cozy Mysteries, Not by Richard Osman, if you want to check that out. And also, if you want something a bit lighter, I've got a recent book haul here as well. Thank you ever so much for taking your time to watch this video and for listening to me ramble on about why I think that celebrity authors' books tend to suck. If you're able to hit that subscribe button, it would mean the world to me. As always, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you. Bye!